Hello, clan fans. Alright, so episode 4 premiered today, and it was a really good episode. I enjoyed it. It definitely was less horrific than episode 3. Instead of the Beardsleys, we had the Browns this time. All the B names. So, this episode saw Roger and Fergus making it to Brownsville with the militia. And as they were attempting to recruit more men, they kind of got ambushed, and we don't really know why exactly. And then they point out that one of the men in the militia, his name is Isaiah Morton. He apparently knocked up the daughter of Mr. Brown. Yeah. And they're not happy about that. Her character is ruined and, all that 18th century fun. So, what happens is that Roger has to make a decision to get them to stop shooting at them. So he kind of calls like a truce for a moment. So he offers them some of the whiskey that they have. They take the drink, but they also want Isaiah, so Roger kind of has no choice but to allow that. So it's just kind of like to keep the peace. Unfortunately, it does not impress some of the men. In fact, they find it as a traitorous move on Roger's part. So some of the men leave. Not a good sign when you're trying to recruit men. And when Jamie and Claire finally get to Brownsville, Jamie is informed of everything, and he actually is kind of disappointed in Roger. Which, in all fairness, Roger hasn't been trained in this. He just, started being a captain. Bree maybe took him out for a couple of shooting sessions, but I don't think they really ever truly went over the ground rules of being a captain for a militia. So, it's a little unfair there. Poor Roger. Yeah, no, I'm not as harsh towards Roger as I was last season. He's kind of grown, so we're cool. But unfortunately to Jamie, Roger kind of made a mistake. But he also recognizes that Isaiah himself also made a mistake. However, he does decide to let him go, so while the men of Brownsville aren't watching, he frees Isaiah and he tells him to leave and to never come back. Isaiah doesn't want to leave because he wants to be with the woman that he did knock up, which her name is Alicia. And unfortunately, their love is very Romeo and Juliet, where they cannot be together, especially not in Brownsville. So Isaiah does eventually leave, but maybe we haven't seen the last of him. I'm just guessing there. So aside from all of the drama, Claire also still has Baby Beardsley, which I guess they were calling her Bonnie. I still want to call her Baby Beardsley though, that's cute. Also makes it more pleasant than what we saw from the Beardsleys in the last episode. So yeah, she still has the baby and they're trying to take care of her. They do manage to find a mother who is nursing. So the woman who's nursing does actually want to take Baby Beardsley. But Claire is a little hesitant at first, because she, of course, wants to talk it over with Jamie, because this was actually kind of their chance to have another child, especially without her carrying one, which is a dangerous age to do that at with her. Also, the time period, if she was having trouble back in the 40s, then it would have been even worse in the 18th century. But Jamie even expresses this later in the episode, maybe this was our one chance to raise a child together without you having to carry one. Because, of course, they regret not being able to take care of Bree together. And honestly, that scene brought so many tears to my eyes, because it's all these thoughts that I've had the past few seasons. And it's like Jamie and Claire are finally, really discussing that. And just hearing them talk about it just really made my heart feel so heavy. because you do want to see them be parents together. And in a way, you do get to see them be parents with Bree, just when she's older. And they get to be grandparents, and as they point out, Marsali and Fergus will keep the ridge populated. Which, I don't remember how many kids they have, maybe like 4 or 5 in the end, but oh no, that's bringing up an unfortunate memory of what I've read. We're not going to discuss that. So, yeah, it was just nice to hear them talk about that finally. But of course, they do decide to leave Baby Beardsley in the hands of, I believe it was Mrs. Brown. I'm pretty sure it was her. I was having trouble keeping track of the lineage there. But, yeah. And of course, Roger's still trying to figure himself out, because he doesn't know how to be a captain. What he's doing is he's trying to entertain the men. Jamie, however, is not terribly impressed, like we talked about. And he does eventually send Roger to leave with Claire, because she does have to go back to the ridge with the twins, Josiah and Keziah. Maybe I should just call him Kezi, it sounds better. So yeah, they're gonna go back to the ridge. And Roger feels like Jamie doesn't have a lot of faith in him, but Claire does point out that, hey, he literally gave you the one thing that he loves the most. So there's some silver lining there. And in the meantime, they're trying to take care of Alicia, who is kind of, she's wanting to kill herself because she can't live without Isaiah. They find her in the woods attempting to shoot herself, and they stop her, take her back to their room, and guess who shows up? Isaiah! So, Isaiah, despite the fact that he's married, he still loves Alicia more than his wife, because clearly things haven't worked out with the wife. He's found true love with Alicia. Maybe not the greatest way to do things, but Claire and Jamie are moved by their act of love, and they do actually help them escape. And I kind of loved this scene. It was like classic Claire and Jamie. Like, if you guys go back to season 1, where the boy in Cranesmuir gets his ear bolted by a nail to a post because he's being punished, and then Claire is sickened by it, and at one point she asks Jamie if you could like help him get out of that. So they devise a plan and they figure that out. So it kind of reminded me of that, which I like that there are some season 1 flashbacks in this season. It's nice. So in order to get Alicia and Isaiah out of there, they help them ride off on a horse quietly in the very early dawn. Unfortunately, the horse does knock over some barrels at some point, and Roger has to try to stop them. And thankfully, nobody wakes up quite yet, and the horse is able to get away. Jamie, in order to create a diversion and also to get rid of anything that will help the men of Brownsville attempt to chase Isaiah and Alicia, he releases the horses. And honestly, that was awesome. Just watching all those horses leave, all the men freak out. And then the Browns, there's Lionel Brown, who's Alicia's father, and then there's Richard Brown, Lionel's brother. They watch as the horses run away, and you see it on their faces that they know that Jamie had something to do with it. But, they still got away with it. So yeah, I loved this episode. It was not as intense as I thought it was going to be, which was nice because I thought there was going to be a lot more violence the way they were showing the preview. And I'm glad it wasn't like that, because we're going to have so much conflict come up soon, and I am just preparing myself for it. I'm not ready for it. So any chance that we can have some calmer episodes, I will take them. So also, we have to discuss Bree. So she is obviously taking care of the ridge while everyone's away. She comes back from town with Mrs. Bug and Jemmy. It turns out that Jemmy has a coin in his crib, and Bree's trying to figure out why that's there. And Mrs. Bug is explaining that while Bree was in one of the shops, there was an Irish man who was like paying attention to Jemmy, like messing with his hair and talking to him. And this clearly and obviously freaks out Brianna because she knows Bonnet's out there. She is afraid for Jemmy. And just to hear a mention of an Irishman, and she was trying to ask like specific details, but Mrs. Bug of course didn't remember. So she can't know for sure, but we most likely know the answer. We can't lie to ourselves. So unfortunately, Bree, throughout the rest of the episode, is living in panic. And at one point, she is at the big house, and she's trying to take care of everything. She leaves Jermaine and Jemmy alone for a second, and then as soon as she goes back inside, which honestly, when she left the door open to go outside and get firewood, I was like, Bree, close the door. I mean, it's not locked, but it's better than just leaving it open. But anyway, she goes inside and Jemmy is missing. Jermaine's there and she's trying to ask him, like, where did Jemmy go? And Jermaine, being his young self, is saying something that doesn't make a lot of sense in helping find Jemmy. So Bree is just in a panic. She screams out his name. She's running all over the place. She wakes up some of the people, and even Marsali comes down, and they're trying to figure out where Jemmy is. And then Marsali finally asks Jermaine, where's Jemmy? And he's trying to tell her that he went to go get something. I guess it was like a little trinket of some kind. And they find him in one of the rooms. And thankfully he's not harmed. But just that moment of panic was enough to jolt Bree so much that Marsali invites her to have a drink. And it's actually nice seeing Marsali and Brianna have a scene together because we haven't really seen them get to know each other. Like, it was a lot of lost time where we didn't see them meet. We didn't see them bond in any way. So this was the first time we really saw them bond. And Marsali is really trying to help her calm her nerves. And she tells her about her father, how he would beat her and her mother, which it kind of explains a little more about Leary's character as well. Which I get, she had a hard life. I'm sorry about that. She doesn't meet the things she has with Claire. She just, it's not what this is about. I'm gonna forget this. So, anyway, she's explaining how, like, she says she killed her father, but she really just meant that she wished that he was dead so the beating would stop. And eventually he was arrested for being a Jacobite and died in prison. And the moral of the story is that just because she wished it doesn't mean she made it happen. So she's just trying to calm Bree and tell her, like, just because something bad is around and you're afraid of it doesn't mean it's going to happen. So, yeah, I loved that scene. It was just a nice moment between them. And I hope we get to see more moments between them. Yeah. And Marsali, of course, is going to have more kids, and maybe Bree will get to take care of them. Maybe bond more. I don't know. So yeah. I'm trying to think if there's something I am forgetting, but that was the overall general idea of the episode. Of course, there's the whole militia thing, so the men of Brownsville will go to Hillsborough. Of course, there were some rules that were set, but I don't know how much that's going to be followed, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know if Brownsville is going to continue to be a big thing for our heroes, but possibly if the Browns have something to say about everything, it could be. Alright guys, what'd you think of the episode? I thought it was good, and I love that we had a little bit of a calm episode, but we're edging into the dangerous territory here, so yeah. We'll see what happens. Alright guys, tell me your thoughts, and I will see you for episode 5. We're almost halfway there. Episode 6 will be the halfway point, because we're only getting 12 episodes this season, I believe. And I also wanted to let you guys know that my videos might be coming a little late for the next few weeks. Things are just getting a little crazy with the schedule, but I will try to get them out as soon as I can, and I appreciate you guys' patience with that. And yeah, I will see you guys soon. Have a good day. Bye.